Hey, it's your girl Barbie J. Welcome to my channel. Hey there, everybody. It's your girl Barbie J here with the recap and review of Tyler Perry's comedy drama, Zatima, Season 3, Episode 5, Game Changers. And this episode starts off where last week's episode ended, with Zach asking Fatima why she at or in his old projects, in his childhood hood, you know what I mean? And he catches her talking to Connie, so he wants to know what's going on. So Connie uses the whole funeral arrangements as an excuse to say why Fatima's there. Now, Fatima's supposed to be the smart and intelligent one. Why she couldn't come up with something? Why they got her standing there acting like she don't know what to say when she up here scheming on Zach? You know what I mean? So anyway, Zach is very suspicious about this, and he asks Connie a few more questions about what it is she be talking to his moms about. So anyway, but what I don't like is, like I'm saying, Fatima has Connie lying for her to Zach. And that's not cool. I'm sorry, but that's just not cool. Zach doesn't want to talk to Jeremiah with Fatima. And Fatima's like nagging him, wanting to go. And he's like, I made up my mind. I'm doing it on my own because you're pregnant. If he says something to you out of the way, I'm going to go off. But you're going to go off whether she's pregnant or not, Zach. Let's be real about that. But anyway, at that moment, he's about to go up there. Then Connie calls him back. He's like, what? What is going on? And then that's when Fatima sees the text from Angela about Bryce getting into a car accident and trying to kill himself. And Zach is like, what? So then Fatima basically forces Zach to go with her to the hospital. He didn't want to go because he's dealing with some mess with his brother, but he ends up going anyway. But what's funny is, and it's not really funny, Fatima had Angela on speaker, and she's saying how Bryce had been depressed lately and feeling stressed about this whole thing with Zach and the money. So it's making it seem like it's about Zach and the money. But she didn't tell her part of how she didn't want to be friends with him anymore, and how she didn't want to date him anymore, how she didn't even want to talk to him anymore, how she kept turning Bryce away. And she made it seem like this is on Zach when she just as guilty as Zach is, if not even more, because he wanted to stay friends with her and she didn't. Just because he tried to kiss Zach, that's your reason for treating him like crap, Angela? Come on, girl. Own up on the part that you played in this. Y'all let me know down in the comment section what y'all think about that. So now we got this barbershop scene with Nathan, Tony, Mr. Tyrone, and Belinda. And they in there talking, and Mr. Tyrone about getting sick of Belinda being in there. He trying to get her to leave and stuff. And she going back and forth. She there because of Nate and all this stuff. Whatever. Then she finally leaves out. Who comes in but Jeremiah, trying to sell a Rolex watch. They asking him where he got it from. He's like, don't worry, I get the good stuff. Where'd you get it from? Don't worry, just buy it. You won't buy it for your woman? And he's like, I need to know where you got it from. He said, let me see it. He let Tony see the watch. Tony checking it out and then turned around and saw the inscription. So he gives it to Nate and told Nate to read the inscription. Nate's like, to Fatima from Zach. Yo, you stole Fatima's watch? And he's like, ain't no, she dropped it. Then it was like, she dropped it. And then what happened and stuff. And then he's like, no, she gave it to me. It was like, Igga, get your story straight. So now Jeremiah is busted for stealing Fatima's watch. They're telling them if they call Zach, he gonna bust his ass. And he's like, I ain't afraid of Zach. Y'all afraid of Zach. I'm Jeremiah. They was like, get out of here. Mr. Tony said, get your cockroach behind out of here. And so he lit up a joint, puffed it in the shop, and then walked out and threw it on the floor in the shop. And Tony was about to jump on him, and Nate held him back. So now here we are at the hospital. Angela's sitting in the waiting room when Zach and Fatima arrive. And she tells them Bryce did this on purpose. And they're like, what? Really? And she tells them, she's explaining how he was so upset and all this stuff. So Angela says, I'm sorry Bryce acted like this. And Zach says, I am too. And then Angela looks at him and said, so you didn't want him to do this? And I was like, well, that sounds real dumb, Angela. And Zach is like, no, Angela, come on. And she's like, I'm just checking. And I'm like, really, Angela? He's like, well, he was acting crazy for messing up your money. And Zach said, well, he should have been acting crazy, And I'm sitting there going, I agree with Zach. He should have been, because he took Zach's money and did something with it without Zach's permission. Come on. So, and Fatima keeps looking at him like, Zach, like, why you being like that? Be nice. He's like, what? And that was the same thing. What? Anyway, I'm not sure why she feels Zach don't have the right to say that. You know what I mean? But anyway, then Fatima changes the subject and asks Angela, did she call Bryce's parents? Angela didn't because she doesn't know them. And Zach and Fatima say, oh, and she says, she looking at them up and down like, I don't need the judgment. They like, ain't nobody judging you. Let it go, girl. Relax. But anyhow, now the doctor comes in and tells them they can go see Bryce now. Zach doesn't want to go back there, but Fatima forces him to go back there and drags him there. She's so busy trying to keep him off of this whole Jeremiah thing, but you pushing him to do stuff that he don't want to do pertaining to Bryce. And that's not cool. I'm sorry, but I'm not liking Fatima very much in this episode. I got to tell y'all all right now. So Angela gets in there first, and Bryce is like, what you doing here and all this stuff, and then he changed his tune when he saw Zach and Fatima coming. He's like, oh, they came too, or whatever, you know what I mean? And Bryce takes this opportunity to tell Zach that he sold his car to give him the money at his mother's funeral until he gets the rest of the money. And Zach said, okay. And then Fatima's telling Zach to tell Bryce. And Bryce is like, tell him what? And he told him about his deal with Preston bailing them out and that he wants 33%. And Bryce is like, that's fine. So he's feeling relief and everything. And now he's like, come here, bring it in. He want to hug Zach and stuff. And I'm like, why would you do that? You was just all solemn and feeling a certain way and being nasty to Angela. And all of a sudden now you want to hug Zach because Preston saved their behinds, And Zach is like, nah, like I could just slap you 5. And he's like, oh, that's my hand and stuff. And Fatima's like, come on, Zach, go ahead. And I think that's wrong because one of the things that Zach was upset was about Bryce kissing him. And you going to tell him to get close enough to this man in the bed to hug him in the bed? Why he got to hug him? That's too soon. He could have did a fist bump and let it go. So I thought that was a real stupid scene. Y'all let me know below what y'all thought about it. So anyway, now Zach and Fatima leave and Angela's still there and she wants to talk to Bryce about what he did. And he is swearing that she didn't see what she saw, that he didn't do what she think he did, and he don't want to talk about it, not to her and not even to a doctor, because she was suggesting maybe he need to talk to a doctor. And he's like, look, I'm just getting out of here. I want to check out. He said, why are you even here? Because you don't care about me. You don't care about me. She said, just because I don't want to have a relationship with you doesn't mean I don't care about you. I missed a day of work. I was here overnight. He's like, well, you know what? I'm sorry. I thank you for that. Thank you for being here for me. But like I'm telling y'all, he think everything is all good now because Zach got the money. And he's not taking ownership of what he did that was crazy. And she's not taking ownership of part of his reason losing his mind is because he needed her as a friend and she wasn't there for him either. And she was pushing him aside. So now the episode ends with Fatima and Zach showing up at the funeral home and meeting Director Smith. And Director Smith he's aware of who they are, but they didn't notice. And he shows them a casket saying, this is the one that most people pick for their parents and family because it's made of copper. And Zach is like, how much is this one? He said, $18,000. I said, what? I was like, that man lost his damn mind. Zach went off. He went in, what? He went off so bad, he said, I could have bought my mother an $18,000 used car and buried her in it. I was like, oh God. And Fatina's like, calm down, Jack, calm down. I was like, oh, hell no, you should be getting excited too. He's like, that damn thing got scratches on it. This is a used coffin. You up here reusing these coffins. Zach was going in. I thought it was so funny. And then the man was like, Jack started swearing and everything, and the man's telling him not to swear because, we don't want to do that in front of the dead. And Zach is like, they can hear us? And he's like, I think so. And they're like, oh, okay, So Director Smith said, how about if I show you something a lot cheaper? He said, because your brother said when he came, my brother, you talked to my brother? And Director Smith said, yes, he was here earlier. Zach said, look, let me tell you how this gonna go. I'm paying for my mother's arrangements to have all of this done. My brother, he has a substance abuse problem. And the director's like, oh my, okay, that makes sense. And Zach is like, what did he do? And he said he came in here looking for jewelry. He said he wanted to see if you brought jewelry to put on your mother and the casket. And he was like, what? And then he came with a Rolex watch. He said, a Rolex, it must have been fake. No, it was real. He said, how do you know? He said, you'd be surprised what people come in here in exchange for trying to bury their loved ones. I said, oh, snap. So anyway, he tells Zach that Jeremiah wanted him to buy the watch and then put it on his mother's wrist. And that when Zach came in here, he would pay for it. Zach is like, oh my God. Fatima got her eyes rolling up in her head. And he's like, where would he get a Rolex from? And Fatima's sitting there, she knowing it's her, acting like she don't know. I don't know and stuff. And the man said, I took a picture of it. You want to see it? Yes, I want to see it. Fatima's like, no, we here for the casket and all that. He said, no, I want to see the picture. And he's like, no, we for the casket. I was like, why do they have Fatima acting like this? This is too much for me. The lying behind Zach's back and being sneaky and dishonest is too much for me. Yes, he might get upset, but don't you understand when a person who you've been lying to all this time, when they find out the truth, they really gonna be upset and the issue's gonna hit the fan. Come on, y'all. Fatima wasn't thinking. And I don't like how they have her act in this episode. Now, not even that. This season, it's really too much. The dishonesty is not cool. So Fatima asks him to show them a casket for 5,000. Zach is like, shoot, 5,000 too high too. I was like, I'm with you. What you got for 25.50? You know, I'm just saying. And in the meantime, the man came and brought the picture of the Rolex. And Zach is looking at it. He tells Fatima to look at it. And he's like, how would Jeremiah get his hands on a Rolex? And he's looking at the picture, and then he looks at Fatima's arm and lifts up her sleeve and said, where's your watch? And it went off just like that. So besides all the lying Fatima did, I thought this was a pretty decent episode. I enjoyed it. It was like, I'd give it a 7 or something like that. But anyway, y'all let me know down in the comment section what y'all thought about it. And if you are new here or returning and have not subscribed to this channel as of yet, please take a moment right now, hit that subscribe button, then hit the notification bell and select all, and it'll let you know every time I upload any new content to this channel. Then I ask that you hit that like button, which is the thumbs up button, write a comment, join the conversation, and share, because sharing is caring. And I will see you all in the next video. It's your girl Barbie J, saying peace.